So here we see this bumbling group of men, and yet they are proceeding. In Peru, in the high mountains in the north, there is a great movement among the evangelicals there. Many, many churches have been planted. And one of the marvelous things, if you're going up into the mountains with a mule train or something carrying Bibles, and you meet some believers who are coming down the mountain, or meet them in any place and you say, "Hermano, ¿cómo estás? How are you doing, brother?" They will always say this, "Avanzando, hermano, avanzando." I'm advancing. I'm advancing. You know, when I look at a believer, I don't look at where they have been. I don't look at their maturity at that point. I ask one question: are they advancing? Are they advancing? Are they advancing? Are you advancing in spirituality? Are you advancing in your service to God? What a shame if we have to say in our younger years we were so zealous, but as we got older, we fell asleep. No, that's not true Christianity. True Christianity, the elder man, his zeal should burn far more than the foolish young man who's just been converted. Then it says in verse 17, when they saw him, they worshiped him, but some were doubtful. Now, here they are looking at the resurrected Lord, and it says that some were doubtful. Now, why would Matthew put this in the Bible? Because it's true. You see, the authors of the New Testament weren't trying to create a story. They weren't inventing a myth in order to propagate a new religion. They're just telling what they saw. It was true. What does this tell us? Jerome said this, and I agree with him. He said the fact that they doubted is one of the greatest proofs of the resurrection. Because these weren't gullible men. These weren't men who just believed or had it set in their mind that he would resurrect from the dead. To the contrary, they didn't even believe it. Even when they were told, they didn't believe it. Even when he was standing there before them about to be ascended into heaven, some of them doubted. But here's something else we see. These men who doubted also became men who turned the world upside down. Again, let me go back to this. I look in the mirror of God's Word oftentimes and I think to myself, how can I even preach? How can I direct a mission organization? I'm so immature in so many ways, so foolish in so many ways, made so little progress in so many ways after all these years of following Christ. And then I look at this and I realize it is not about the power or wisdom of a man. It is about a man's recognition of his absolute inability and throwing himself upon Christ, and that is enough. Your problem is not that you're too weak. Your problem is you're too strong. And I can prove that by just asking you one question. How many hours a week do you pray? Do you pray? Do not allow your weakness to be a motivation to hold you back from the service of Christ. Allow your weakness to be a catalyst to throw yourself upon Him and to submit to His Lordship. To recognize your need of Him, to be broken, small, weak, and nothing, and through that He will shine forth His glory and His strength. So I want you to see that the Great Commission is an absolute impossibility for men. It is. A bunch of doubting, stumbling people like us, the Great Commission is an absolute impossibility apart from the Spirit of God. Men, listen to me. Years ago, Leonard Ravenhill sent me a tract because he knew I was struggling, and it was this. It was, others can, but you cannot. There's some things in the tract I wouldn't agree with. There's some other things that are very solid. And basically what he said was this: if you want to be a man that God uses, if you want to be a man that enters into special counsel with God, if you want to be a man who knows His presence and knows His power, then you are not going to be able to do things that other men feel free to do. You're going to have to zealously guard your heart and your mind. You're going to have to take the commandments of God seriously. You're going to have to realize that the Spirit is revealed to us as a dove that can be quickly grieved. Purity, men. Purity. In a day, especially when all the young preachers today seem to be flaunting their liberty and trying to demonstrate to the whole world how relevant they can be by looking like the world. I'll have none of it. Purity. Purity.